Good afternoon, happy Wimbledon fortnight. It's actually rained off right now, but it's lovely and sunny here. Really windy though, so I want to show you some things outside, but I'm not sure what the audio is going to be like. So we're staying here just for a second. Yesterday was really lovely afternoon actually. After I left you, I basically just potted around the garden for the rest of the day. I pruned this, pulled up this. Yeah, it was very much a kind of just relax, doing bits and pieces kind of day. I did tick some things off my list, but I wasn't feeling like I was driven by the list. I just happened to do those tasks as I was enjoying the garden. It made me realise that I may have been rather caught up in a sense of urgency and a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest. No regrets at all about the allotment and everything. Still super happy with my decision to get that, but I did sow too much. I sowed too much, and that's bogged me down. Also, I made the mistake with the compost and had the seed sowing compost for far too long, things in that for far too long, and that set back the plants. And yeah, so all lessons learnt to take forward into next year, but I think my adjustment for right now needs to be more one of attitude, and to stop thinking that like I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I'm almost out of time for this, and instead just, you know, it's meant to be a hobby, I'm meant to be enjoying it, stop making it a chore. So just, yeah, I've got 2 weeks now to do all these sorts of things, but I've got 2 weeks and I can take my time and, yeah, not forget to stand back or sit back even and enjoy it. So yeah, yesterday was really nice. One of the things that I did do was empty the pots that had the old tulip bulbs and ranunculus and stuff in, so they're now drying out in here and in the lean-to. In fact, I'll move these into the lean-to because it's a bit hot in here. Looks like it's been up to 40 degrees today in the greenhouse. Tomatoes are enjoying that. But that meant I had some soil that I could use to mulch where I cleared the broad beans and around the tiny parsnip seedlings. So I did that last night, but first I amended the soil. So let me show you what I used for that. So here are my feeds. This isn't seaweed feed, this is what I put the banana feed in because I needed the big tub for that. So the seaweed feed is now in these two. This is the comfrey that I made in the autumn. I've only just decanted it. I had taken the leaves out and put those into the compost heap, but the rest of the feed was just in a big bucket with a lid on. But now I've decanted that, so some of that went on to the bit I'd cleared from the broad beans, but also I put some of this, which is lab or lactobacillus. I think that's how you say it. So if anybody follows Hugh Richards, which I'm sure many of you do, he is very into soil amendments and things, and particularly the lactobacillus bacteria amendments, and he uses like a fermented milk, I think, to do his. But obviously I'm vegan and veganic gardening, so one of the things I was interested in was whether you could use things like kombucha and water kefir on the garden to feed the soil, because it contains those bacteria too. I did some Googling, there's not much. In some dark corners, that sounds seedy, in some dusty corners of the internet, there's some discussion on it. I found some things that seemed to think that it would work. But yeah, I've done it a few times already, and so far nothing's died. So, yeah, if it's of interest to people, I could perhaps try and research it a bit more. But at the moment, I'm just kind of going with it. So yeah, all it is plain water kefir. So you have the kefir grains, and you mix sweet water with the grains and leave it to ferment for a couple of days. But this one I've left the top off, and I'm just letting it continue to ferment so that it burns, well, eats most of the sugars off, because obviously I don't want it to be too sweet and attracting like ants and things. But yeah, well, it's hard to judge whether it's doing something or not, but if it's not killing things, and it's something I have in plentiful supply, because you have to make kefir every couple of days to keep your grains happy, and sometimes that's more than I can drink, so if I'm feeding it to the garden and it's improving the soil, then that's super. So here's the bed that the broad beans were in. So I put the amendments on, just watered them on. The kefir and the comfrey, well, I couldn't tell you how many parts I used of those to water, but I basically just splashed some of each into the watering can. So that went on the bed. Then here is the wheelbarrow full of the tulip and ranunculus soil. So that is spent soil, but was fine for a mulch, so that went on top. And then my neighbour kindly gave me her grass clippings yesterday, so some of that has gone on top too. So this bed is ready to plant. And I guess I'll probably be planting brassicas in there, because I still have an absolute ton of them. Other things that could go in there though, I've got some more peas that need to go out. What else? There's some lettuces, but I think I'll put them onto this side of the smaller beds where it's shadiest, to try and prevent them from bolting. Yeah, I've got various things. I'm sure I will fill that bed up super quick. I'm almost tempted as well to kind of put some more parsnip seed in to make a proper line. I think it's a bit late for parsnip seed. Did I mention this yesterday? I feel like I did. I think it might be a bit late for parsnip seed. Oh, I think I said I might put some on the allotment. But there's nothing to lose, and maybe I'll just get baby parsnips, which I'm okay with. So this morning I was supposed to be doing the front garden, but in the spirit of this laid back attitude of just do whatever I feel like it and slowly tick things off this list, I went to the garden centre instead, and my cousin the enabler, we had talked about the possibility of going to the garden centre this morning, and once it's mentioned, that's it, of course we're going. So I mean, I needed compost, so I did have to go, only I came back with no compost because we filled the car with plants, couldn't fit any compost in. So I'll show you what I bought, but I might bring them in here rather than going out there because it's so windy. Okay, so we're now going to have a runway show of plants that I've just bought. This is what you tune in for. This is just part of it. I'm going in stages. Okay, I brought these three together because they're all the same plant. This is Million Bells, or Calebrachoa, I think it's called. But yeah, Million Bells is easier. Look at the colour of these. They're just absolutely stunning. They're like an antique rose kind of colour, I would say. Okay, just look at the colour of those flowers. So I had Million Bells last year. I didn't know what they were because I bought them from the plant lady around the corner as just little seedlings. And then I couldn't believe how brilliant these plants were. You don't have to deadhead them. They just continually flower. They went right up until the last frost, and they're lovely and full plants as well. They've got this trailing habit, just perfect. When I plant ID'd them with my app, it said it was a Thumbelina petunia. So this year I was scouring the garden centres for Thumbelina petunias, and I bought some. And those are the petunias I put in with you. I put some there, some there. I made a hanging basket with them. But they're big. They were big. They're very similar, because this is also known as a I think this is known as like a trailing petunia, although they're like cousin plants, but actually different varieties. So, and they need deadheading. And I was really disappointed. I was like, no, these are too big. They need deadheading. They're not the thing that I had the year before. And then I saw these in the garden centre today, and we were in the plant nursery at Sharnford. So the staff were very knowledgeable, and she was told me that no, these are Million Bells, and yeah, that was the thing that I wanted. Not that I'm sorry that I've got these petunias, but the trouble with these petunias is you do have to deadhead, and they're sticky. I don't know if anyone else finds this, and I feel this with calendula as well, because you have to deadhead that, and they're sticky. I don't like it. Whereas this, you don't have to deadhead, and it's just going to look gorgeous all year round with very little care. That's the kind of plants that I like. So I got this one, which I think is a gorgeous colour, but then I got two smaller pots, a white and a purple, which is like the one I had last year, and then this one, which is a little orange and yellow one. How pretty that flower is. Lovely colour. So yeah, really chuffed with those. Right, on to the next. How's that for a hanging basket? Oh, wow. This is of course a trailing geranium, but the colour is just absolutely stunning, like cerise colour, really, and so huge. Mum's really good at propagating geraniums, so I'm going to give her this to have a go at, see if we can get some more plants from it and overwinter them as well. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous and huge, and only a £10. The other hanging basket was only a £5. And last but not least, coleus. I like to kill some every year. Yeah, don't have much luck with coleus, but they were only £2 for 6. So yeah, for as long as they're alive, I will enjoy them. You can overwinter coleus. You can bring it in and have them as a house plant. I have never succeeded in this. And then last but not least, I got myself a Thunbergia. Mum got one at the beginning of the season, the yellow one with the black eye, and it's been great. We've been really enjoying it, and so I wanted one of my own, and I got this one with the orange. It's called Sunny Susie Red Orange, and there's how pretty those flowers are. Is that focusing? Can't tell because it's so sunny in this greenhouse. So I'm going to have to find something for that to climb up. Mum's got it wrapping around a piece of wire, and yeah, it's been growing like Billy-O. So hopefully this one will do the same. But yeah, super pleased with that. And that is kind of it. I just realised I've left like a trail of those geraniums. Whoops. Yeah, almost it, because I bought a watering can, and I also bought these. They're not plant supports, they're actually tunnel hoops, cloches. There's 3 in each, and yeah, they were only, what were they, £5.99 per pack, and I thought that was a real bargain, being that they're nice kind of metal ones, and yeah, a little bit more ornate than my plastic Wilco's ones. So that was a very enjoyable morning, and yeah, as I say, in the spirit of not thinking, oh, I've got to do this, I need to do this now, I can't do that because I've got to do this. Instead it was like, oh, let's just go out and do this fun thing, and well, buy more plants that actually create more jobs. Although at the minute, all I have to do is get them watered. Good morning. We are finally in the front garden, and ready to harvest some garlic, potentially some onions, we'll see, definitely some elephant garlic. So I brought out all my kit I think I need. I also went and bought compost this morning, but the first job really is to clear the front and then think about what needs to be planted into it. It's a little bit windy, but yeah, we'll see how we get on. I've got about 40 minutes until the bread is cooked, so we're going to blitz. So let's just show you what I'm dealing with here. Here is the front garden. It's rather wild at the moment. The hollyhocks have come out and they're absolutely gorgeous and towering. Whoa! This one in particular is beautiful. Woo! Through the leaves, there we go. What a stunner. And here, the Helenium, the everlasting sunflowers, are about to come out. We've got the verbena out here as well. So there's lots of tall things at the front that are supposed to create this kind of enclosed sense. We've got the apple tree here, but the apple tree isn't looking too great. I think because this poppy has grown so close to it, that's probably not ideal. So I need to take that poppy out. I did want to show you on the front, which I'm really pleased about, is that the Amimagus has come back. So I sowed that last year. I didn't do any more this year, in part because the autumn sowings failed instantly and then I just couldn't be bothered. But it came back anyway, so that's really good. Apologies for Dory, she can hear me talking but she can't see me. She thinks there might be somebody interesting out here. The other thing that's self-seeded is the borage. So I've got borage there and two huge ones here, which are in amongst the garlic and onions, which, if you can believe it, are somewhere in here. I also didn't plant any of these pot marigolds, calendula, this year. They've all self-seeded from last year, so that's really pleasing too. I've still got some of the Phacelia growing, little ones. So they were obviously a bit behind the enormous ones that are pretty much all taken out now. If you're wondering what all of this is, it carries on round, it's tansy. And I think I've mentioned before, tansy is meant to be good with berries, and I've got my gooseberries and raspberries along here. I didn't quite expect it to get this tall. It's not flowered yet, so I think it's a case of seeing what the flower is like and whether the pollinators like it as much as I'm told they do, and whether the flower is very pretty. Okay, enough touring the front garden. Let's get in and find the garlic. Not bad, hey? Yeah, pretty good, I think. So this one looks pretty whole. This one has maybe split slightly up here. Actually, it seems fine, but if yours does split down, you don't have to worry about it. That happens with elephant garlic, it's not a big deal. And as well, because you don't dry elephant garlic as a bulb, you separate the cloves to dry it, otherwise it'll end up rotting in the middle. So I hear. I've already done that with the 3 that I harvested from the back garden, so they're in cloves and drying out. These look a similar size to the ones from the back garden. Yeah, when I was dividing up the cloves, they're kind of, each clove is the size of a normal bulb, if not bigger. So they're pretty amazing. Now I've left one in the ground. So this spike here, just behind there, I've left that one in, basically just to see what it does. Because it's my understanding, I don't know if I got this off Lovely Greens, that it will just stay in and next year it will be a whole clump of elephant garlic. I mean, I'm gonna have enough garlic, so I might as well experiment with that one. In terms of what I'm eating and saving of these, I shall be taking the biggest cloves and keeping those somewhere dark and dry until next year. Well, not next year, it'll be this year, won't it? Till the autumn, when I will plant those for more elephant garlic next year. So hopefully never have to buy elephant garlic again. The other thing that's on the elephant garlic are these bulbils, and you can plant these too, and within a year they will produce a clove, and then in the next year they produce the elephant garlic. But I have had no luck with these so far. Some of them came in my order of elephant garlic last year, and yeah, they've done nothing. I've soaked them and tried again, and still nothing has happened. So we'll see if these ones do any better. I might just plant them in the allotment and see what happens. But okay, so that's the elephant garlic harvested. Let's now see if we can find the regular garlic. Right, well, this seems to be them. As you can see, these probably should have been harvested a bit earlier. We'll see what we get from them. They're definitely ready to be pulled up. I think that looks okay. I know people get white rock, but I don't really know what white rock looks like, but it feels really firm, so I think it's fine. I think it's just dirty. Let's see what the next one looks like. This is the Casa garlic, Casablanca. This one has a garlic babies. There we go, 3-in-1 garlic. I think these have just separated from the main bulb. Oh, it's come off on its own though. There are 3 cloves there. Okay, so far so good. That one's just starting to split, so yeah, these should have come up slightly earlier. Any more? Wowzers! This is the Germador garlic. You can see the pinky on it, but look at the size of those. They're huge bulbs. Now, because this was my saved garlic from the previous year, and it just shows how seeds or bulbs or whatever respond to being in the same ground for another year, you know, that they have attuned to your environment. That's what I think anyway. But they're really impressive, and now I'm really annoyed with myself that I didn't harvest these slightly earlier, because they have all started to come apart slightly, which I think might mean they're no good for drying, and I might have to process those. I mean, nothing will go to waste, it'll just be frozen either as clothes or minced up. But yeah, I'm super pleased with the size of those. Okay, we're doing well. Now, there should also be in here, is it guara garlic, which is the one that I bought from the supermarket and put in as an experiment. So, a bit hard to see where that is for the weeds. I think this part is all onions. I can see the onions. They haven't flopped over yet, so I'm going to keep those in and just weed around them, I think, for now. Let's see. Aha. Okay. I found a brown stalk. Let's see what we've got here. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! My hoary hoary! I just heard it snap. Oh no! There, I can see it snapped. Look. Or is that just mud? That might be just mud. Oh, it's definitely bent though. Hoary hoary is not indestructible. Right, let's see if it can continue. Yeah. Oh, it's slightly taking the shine off my excitement now. Still. Maybe I could have this as my allotment hoary hoary and get another one for the home garden. Maybe it'll be okay from here on in and have more of a scoop function to it. Anyway, back to the garden. Okay, I found 4, but I'm not sure what they are, because that's not the supermarket one. That must be the supermarket one, which is the guaca. And you can see how much smaller that is, even from just one of the regular sized garlics. And that one's still green as well, so I'm going to leave that one a little bit longer, but I don't think it will get much bigger. One of those ones didn't split, so that's just one big fat garlic, which I'm all for really. Yeah, so I'm going to leave those ones a little bit longer. These ones, you see they're still quite green. These are hardneck as well, so I think the hardneck they're usually smaller anyway. Okay, I think there's at least one that I've missed in there, that the tops come off, but then I can't find the actual garlic in the soil. But maybe that just means more garlic next year. Self-sown garlic. Okay, I'm going to do the much less exciting job of weeding now. The ground is super hard, which is why my poor hoary hoary got bent. So this might be, yeah. Oh, I better check on my bread as well. Can't think how long we've been out here already. Actually, I think I can smell it baking. Let's go check on it. Good morning, we're the next day. I did weed this entire area to the best of my ability. I'm sure there's still quite a lot in there, but I pulled up what I could and then I hoed off the surface while it was dry. And then I left it because we were forecast rain. Quite a bit of rain. And indeed, Wimbledon was rained off, but luckily Murray was still playing under the roof, so I watched the Murray match, listening to the rain on the roof there. No rain here. I think we had like a sprinkling before bed and that was it. And then this morning I always check my neighbour's conservatory roof to see if we've had rain, because it has puddles on it. Nothing. So I was really disappointed, and then I arranged to do all of this morning. Thought, forget it, I'm not going to get the lovely moist soil that I wanted to plant into, but this stuff needs to go out. And look at the sky now. Tell me those aren't rain clouds. And this, not forecast. Anyway, I'm out here, I'm set up, I'm getting on with it. And if it does rain today, then that can water in the plants that I've put in. But I think it is going to be, Dory, fairly hard going trying to dig into this soil. But hey ho. You're not involved in this bit. You just stay here and be quiet. The sooner I do this, the sooner we can go for your walk. Yeah? Now, before I show you what we're planting out, I have a couple of amendments to yesterday's footage. One of which is, oh my goodness, Dory, I'm not talking to anybody. Well, I am, but there's nobody here for you. What was I saying? Yes, a couple of amendments. So, one second. Will this solve the problem? Unlikely. We'll see if that helps. So what I was saying was the garlic that I've left in the ground is actually not the guaca variety. That came up, that was one of the other rows. Fine, supermarket garlic, worked a treat. The one that's left in is from my cousin's garden. This is a hardneck that has just perennialized over her garden, and I took some and planted it in the back garden, and then it did its thing there for a year or so. It just made monobulbs, but then when I planted all the garlic out here, I dug that one up and added it in a row so that I was keeping all my garlic together, and seeing if it did better out here than it did in the back. So that is the remaining garlic, and I think what I'll do is I'll wait till it's ready, because this one is still looking quite green. Wait till it's ready, pull up a few, but then leave some and see if it will perennialize in this area like it has in my cousin's garden. And that's the point of this area, that it becomes a perennial food forest. So I want to have minimal jobs out here, including watering, and at the moment I am watering sort of new things that have gone in, like the strawberries, the apple tree, the perennial kale, but none of that garlic or onions got watered at all, and none of the other things in here get watered, none of the flowers, not the raspberries, not the gooseberries, any of that. So I want to build this up with perennials, but because it's still in its early days, for the time being I'm also going to be adding annuals. So let me show you what I've got to go out here. So in terms of perennials, I want to add a few more strawberries. So I got these bargain £1 strawberry plants, which are huge and look really good, and are different varieties to the ones already out here, so they're going to go in. And then I've got my pink currant, which has been patiently waiting for its spot out here. So this is the pink currant Glory de Sablon. I'm really excited about that. Part of me wants it to be with all my other currants in the back, but actually I think a currant will be a really good addition to the food forest, as will a rhubarb. And believe it or not, I grew this rhubarb from seed and I've got about 20 more in the back. But I'm going to put one out here. It's going to take a couple of years, but hopefully I'll have a nice rhubarb plant out here. Can't remember the variety. I'll stick it on screen. And the other perennial, knock over the spade, is another Austerian tree cabbage. So I've got one of these in the back that is going like Billy-O. This one I'm going to put on the front. Oh, Dory, you've got to get right in here. Be careful, okay? Going to put this on here to complement the Tortondine kale. So we'll have two perennial brassicas on the front. And now you can tell me whether this is a bad idea or not. I also grew this, oh my goodness. I grew the asparagus from seed. Some of this is going to go on the allotment, but because I've got so many strawberries out here, I thought these would complement the strawberries. And I know you're supposed to have like a bed that you keep really clear for asparagus and stuff, but in terms of a food forest, I think you would just stick it in and hope for the best. My mom has asparagus grown in her garden that she has no idea where it came from, just grows wonderfully. She doesn't keep it clear or anything like that. So yeah, I'm going to put some of those in. Perennial flowers, I've already got hollyhocks and gladioli out here. I'm going to add some foxgloves. I think actually when I was weeding, there were quite a few foxgloves coming up anyway, which is probably from the homemade compost, although I may have sprinkled seed. I probably did sprinkle seed. Now in terms of annual veg, I've got some leftover courgettes and a couple of leftover squash, so I'm just going to stick those in and let them romp away, see what they do. I've got a whole tray of amaranth here. There's Love Lies Bleeding, there's the biscuit one, and there's the one I grew last year, which I can't remember the variety, but that was lovely. They're such striking plants. I think they'll look good out here, so I'm going to put those out. And then, because of course I have an enormous amount of kale, I have to put kale out here. These are particularly sad looking ones, so we'll get those in the ground. In terms of annual flowers, I had sunflowers on the front last year. They're always a pleaser, aren't they? People love to come by and see your sunflowers on the front. No idea what varieties, what colours they might be, so we'll see. What's the matter? Yeah, I put your lead on and came out here and you thought you were going for a walk, didn't you? We're going to do some planting first. Yeah? And then we're going to go for a walk. And cosmos, because I've got a million leggy, poor cosmos, which I think once they get in the ground, I think they're going to be fine. But yeah, desperate to be planted. So you see, Dory, we've only got all of that to plant. The last thing I wanted to show you then is the potting mix that I'm using to backfill the holes that I dig. This is a mixture of homemade compost, the spent compost from the tulip planters, because that has good drainage. It's got lots of grit and stuff in, and also some bought multi-purpose peat-free compost in equal parts mixed together. I'm hoping that will be nutritious enough for these plants. And it's quite wet because I've also stuck in a bit of the comfrey feed, so I've watered in the comfrey feed. And that was actually the other thing that I wanted to add to from earlier in the video when I was talking about adding amendments to the soil. I was clearing out the fridge last night, which is one of the things you do while you're on annual leave, and I had loads of sourdough starter excess, little pots of it, that I'd been feeding, and then I'd moved on to another batch or whatever. So I was clearing all that out, and that, of course, sourdough starter has all those great bacteria in as well. So I watered it down to make like a milk, and then poured that over the compost that I'm currently compiling in the heaps at the back. So tell me what you think of that. I think that's probably very good for the soil. But as I say, not an expert, just giving it a go. Right, let's get this lot in the ground then. And then hopefully it will rain. Although then it will probably be raining for a walk, hey Dory? And then the last thing we'll do on the video is nip into the allotment on the dog walk and see how the garlic did on the allotment. Oh, that must be at least 2.5 hours later. I've done it. I've got everything in, or as much as I could fit in, I think. So I'll just give you a quick look. Right, here we go. So on the surface, not much looks like it's changed. Probably the biggest addition is the currant, which fills that space lovely. So I put a pumpkin here, which will perhaps trail around there, we'll see. Some amaranth. That I think is the courgette, or it might be the other pumpkin, a variety unknown. There's a few kales, a cosmos. I put 2 of the strawberries there, some other kales. There's the rhubarb, and this is where I've grouped the sunflowers, so the sunflowers will be in this section. I put some of the asparagus around the strawberries here. There's another cosmos, there's another squash. I put the other 2 strawberries near the door, foxgloves in, more foxgloves over there, and more cosmos, a few cosmos along here as well. I did find 3 more garlics as I was digging, and also this self-seeded cosmos right there. And look how bushy it is. It's just like the ones on the allotment, you know. In fact, there's 2 plants there, I think. They certainly seem to be better plants when they're self-seeded, even in the cracks of the pavement. There we go. What else did I put in? I don't know, but it's all in there now. And I'll plug gaps as and when I find them. But otherwise, yeah, pretty happy with that. Oh, and so's that butterfly. Well, that was good timing on getting here to the plot, because the people I struck up that deal with for wood chip were just here delivering some more. So I've just topped up my paths a little bit. But because I took quite a lot of the last lot, seeing as I had priority because I organised it, I've been restrained this time, let some other people have it. Anyway, we're here to harvest garlic. I'm going to do an update on the plot in the next video. So for now, let's just get the garlic. Right, 1 second. I'm just going to talk to you like this for a second. Okay. I'm looking now at the little camera dot. This is probably the first time I've looked you directly in the eye when I've been doing a video. So Allie at the Right Pear plot, and actually Clare at Growing Plotty, have both now mentioned that I tend to talk to you like this because this I'm looking at my face on the screen, and I'm very used to talking to my own face because when I have classes with students or tutorials online, none of them put the cameras on, so I just talk to myself. So that's kind of what I'm doing, but really I should be looking here. I find this really difficult. I can look off at the middle distance, and often I know I do this as well. Look, I just look back at myself then. God, it's so hard. Look here. Anyway, now that 2 people have mentioned it, I'm going to make a concentrated effort to look at the camera and not myself. If you don't follow Allie and Tricia at the Right Pear plot, I'll link below and you can go and have a look at their videos, and also Clare from Growing Plotty. I think those channels are both fairly new channels like mine are, so it would be really good for you to go over there and see what they're doing and see if you want to support them too. So, but right now we're here to look for garlic. So this is where I cleared the broad beans from, so I've just covered it with cardboard for the time being to keep the weeds down. This is quite a moment because this was the bed that I initially planted and now I'm harvesting from it. But if you'll remember, way back, I did like a checkerboard pattern of garlic and shallots, and now it's covered in weeds. I have been weeding this bed, but this of course was the one bit of the allotment, actually there's 2 bits, but that didn't get the no-dig treatment with cardboard and compost on top. This just had the compost, so you can see the difference a bit of cardboard makes. Right, so I'm going to try not to harvest the shallots, weed as I go along, and see what we've got in terms of garlic. Well, that's not too bad for a late December sowing. The variety here is Germador. This is not my saved Germador though. This was bought. It was in fact reduced at Wilco's, I think. This one has split like some of the Germador from the home garden, but there's some good sized bulbs there, cloved up. There's some tiny ones, but I mean, being that this bed was virtually flooded for the whole of winter, I don't think that's too bad. I've weeded it sort of as well, so at least you can now see the onions. And some of these, some on this side near the edge, in the cracks here, are very tiny, but there's some up here. I mean, look at this one. That's a proper sized onion. And I'm not sure about the poor shallots. They are still in there, not all of them came up, but yeah, we'll see what happens with those. But yeah, there we go. Not bad, not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. Might actually be able to plat these ones because they weren't left too long like the ones in the front garden. It's good stuff. Can you spot the dog? Right in the potatoes. Is it nice in there, Dory? Yeah, is it nice in the potatoes? And the peas? Are there any peas? Have you had a look? Shall we have a quick look? Let's have a quick look. You silly monkey. Let's have a look if there are any peas. Oh! Alright. Got some pods, but these should be, I'm sure early onward and not orange too. Or is this onward? This is the onward. The early onward didn't do so well. Oh, there's another one there. I bet you could eat them as munch too though. I'll have to double check whether these ones are supposed to pod up. But, yeah. Oh, you are a proper allotment dog, Dory. Yes, you are. Dog on the plot. At home in the peas and potatoes. Well, the sky is still looking incredibly threatening, but it has yet to rain. Anyway, time to go home, I think. That is the end of the 2023 garlic harvest, and I am super chuffed. If you enjoyed this week's video, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you next week where we're going to be back on the plot.